Chibi Wahid, Black Living Room Talk, with King Aijalon Joseph the Ansubu. And we are in the living room to chop it up. This is going to be about the current Black state of affairs. So, everything that's going on from police brutality, crime, unjustification, no justice, it runs the gamut. Just waking up every morning, being the Nubian god or goddess that you are. King Aijalon the Ansubu, what do you have on the mind tonight?
Thank you for inviting me to Black Talk. Where we get to talk about the politics. Tonight, King Aijalon TV we're going to move around on some various topics and see what we get out this gumbo. Here in Black Living Room Talk, where it's mellow, peaceful atmosphere. Let's discuss things that disturb our community or that will improve our community. And I'd like to say thank you to our host people here for once again inviting me to your show. I really enjoy the talks that we have here.
Absolutely, my brother.
And I was watching the other day a clip from Vicky Dillard, and where there was a rally of young people protesting a misconduct of the authorities. I forget the exact area, because these things happen very rapid across the United States of America. It can be any city at any time. But what happened in particular is Roland Martin showed up. And they treated him like he was a part of the boule. Roland Martin thought he was coming as someone to be held as an example or a pillar within the community. And as he proceeded to try to speak to the crowd of youth in an authoritative fashion, they checked in with the brother and let him know that he's out of his league. And what I witnessed when Vicky Dillard played that clip, that the young brothers and sisters have been doing their research and they've been doing their studying. And they made a decision that they're not going for kumbaya and the Republican or Democratic Party stronghold. And so to get into it a little deeper, they called Roland Martin a house lick for the Democratic Party for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, which Roland Martin did not deny. He could not deny because he had spent the last 3 years campaigning and trying to recruit black people into the Democratic Party platform, especially to get behind the election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. However, this particular day, the young brothers and sisters, they were not having that. They said they have no allegiance to neither of those parties. They're not in alignment with the Democratic Party, nor is the Democratic Party in alignment with our interests. They're not in alignment with the Republican Party. Neither is the Republican Party in alignment with our interests as black people, and never have. And they pointed to the record of having people like Roland Martin jump in front of the camera and just try to control the narrative to stop us from thinking what is beneficial to ourselves. And me just looking at Vicky Diller playing this clip of this young brother, I should have took some notes, got his name, and found out where it's at. Hopefully you in the audience will look up Billy Diller when she went in on Roland Martin, and he was confronted by the youth of a questionable city somewhere in the United States. Because the point King Aijalon and Ansubu Lawyer is making as we push for worldwide community, that we are 3 billion strong on planet Earth, and 70% of our 3 billion are under the age of 40. That means we have the youngest group of individuals on the planet Earth who, if empowered with the right information and the right knowledge, will be the youngest leaders to ever rule the earth. And if we teach them truth and righteousness, we can return to our ancient ways of life by using the instruments of Sankofa and Nkusi Sama. And this is the interest of Low African Lives, that we must empower our youth with truth, not with made-up narratives of what it is to be the Republican or Democrat or Socialist or Communist or Marxist or Christian or Jew or Islam, but the reality that we faced as black people on this earth that has nothing to do with religion or political affiliation, just by the mere fact that we are the original people and that we have been in every area of the earth's landmass geographically. Now, the people who came behind us created these geopolitical constraints and these ethnic labels to our demise. And this is the point that King Aijalon, the Ansubu of African Minds, and Joint African Market, is trying to convey to our people. No longer do we have to listen to Al Sharpton and Reverend Jackson and Roland Martin and the likes of those people who we see and witness recruit us and promote us to do the step and fetch for the political parties of the white Democrats and the white Republicans, like there is some type of salvation or like there is some type of Messiah to our cause.
Can we take a break right there for a minute, my brother? Because I have a question for you.
I'm available, yes. Let's get into it.
Okay, I need to take a break. 1 minute. We're back. I just had to take a break for 1 second. We weren't going too long, were we? Okay, King Aijalon, the Ansubu. The question that I have for you is, as you were saying that about the Reverend Jesse Jacksons and the Reverend Al Sharpton, whom I have had, great respect for. And you named another one. But anyway,
Roland Martin.
Roland Martin.
The one that was confronted by the youth.
Okay. So, well, I'm just wondering, like, okay, when you said that they were kind of like showing black people how to step and fetch it, were you meaning that you feel like they weren't really trying to show us or lead us into black liberation? Are you saying that they just kind of like modeled how to kind of sort of like grin and bear it, or go along and to get along in a more modern way? Would you say that? That's the way I was looking at it. That's the way I saw it, like a modern way, a different way. You might not be saying yes, a master, yes, a boss. But you adapt to saying it in other sorts of ways.
Well, here's the thing, TBYE, and I'm going to explain to the audience on Black Living Room Talk, and I want to be clear about it. Before Martin Luther King, we had Marcus Garvey. And Marcus Garvey, at the time, America was segregated, and he knew enough information that African people in America, or Native American, or Aboriginal people, or Moors, and however we want to call ourselves with all these division of names. The bottom line, the common denominator is that black people on this earth are not treated fair, especially here in the United States of America. And Marcus Garvey went around North America, Central America, and South America, and the Caribbean to tell us to unite, and that we can establish some type of identity on the African continent, and at the same time have an identity here where we can cause a trade between the continent and the black people in the diaspora. And so the reason I went into this, that Martin Luther King was himmied into teaching us to integrate into the system of the United States government corporation. And to be real quick, so I won't prolong the point I'm trying to make, is at the end of the day, Martin Luther King said, I may have led my people into a burning house. and with that statement, after talking to Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X and reviewing Marcus Garvey's stand, and talking to Kwame Nkrumah and Patrice Lumumba and other Pan-Africans via mail and going to visit Kwame Nkrumah, Martin Luther King had to rethink his strategy. And everybody in his People Progressive Movement, look it up, do your research. The People Progressive Movement Party is something that Dr. Martin Luther King was going to establish over here. They had the Progressive People Party over in Nigeria, and so they're going to do one over here in the United States. Well, that's not my main point. My main point is that Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson were familiar with Dr. Martin Luther King, especially Jesse Jackson, Your Royal Highness TBYE, my Nubian goddess, on Black Living Room. We have to look at the information. So if Martin Luther King, before he was assassinated, talked to Kwame Nkrumah and revisited Marcus Garvey's teachings or philosophy and opinions, and he also sat down with Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X, there was a disconnect after the assassination because Jesse Jackson spoke and strategized to push us further into the burning house. And so did Al Sharpton, when the person that they said they're modeling themselves after clearly told us this is a burning house. So yes, step and fetch, yes, Samassa, no Samassa, was the conclusion that we have to draw. And yes, I'm saying it very clear, because anyone who studied, any scholar or researcher or person who makes an inquiry investigation as to who Dr. Martin Luther King was at the beginning of his life, during the formative years of his college, during the social civil rights era struggle, and before he ended his life, he turned into a Pan-African. He was convinced that Pan-Africanism is the way to engage us. And he made a few other speeches and wrote some papers that they don't ever talk about. But you can go into the archives. Everyone's free to do their own research. And with Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton knowing that the United States government assassinated Dr. Martin Luther King, it's in the CIA files, it's in the FBI files, it's also in the ATF file, in the DA files. It's also in the DIA file, Defense Intelligence Agency, and other parts of the cabinet in the legislature of the Senate in the House of Representatives. It's even cataloged into the Library of Congress. This information is open to anyone to find out. in 2021. But Your Majesty, give me one. To get back to what you asked me, yes, that's what I'm trying to say about Jesse Jackson, Roland Martin, and Al Sharpton, and the likes of. If Dr. King, who they profess that they follow, or they're in alignment with what he was doing with the movement to increase our social and civil agility upon Earth, on this planet, through the instrument of America, to allow us to have a voice and to be vigilant, carving out a path to create our own destiny as a people who have been in destitute in the dimension of slavery and Reconstruction, Jim Crow, segregation, and injustices through the court system as well as the corporate system. I think the only conclusion for anyone who's looking for truth is to find that the scales has been tilted against black people, and there is no need to promote the Democratic or the Republican Party to black people when Martin Luther King, before he died, started his own People Progressive Party. And neither Al Sharpton nor Jesse Jackson picked up that mantle.
That was deep because it gives you a vivid picture of how it's been all over the place. You know, it's like you've got the Black Panther Party, then you've got the NAACP and all these other, you know, that it didn't have any strength, you know, and I believe that those types of organizations, it just kind of like placates and pacifies, and that is the problem, because it makes America think that there's nothing wrong, you know, and you can just pat it on the head, you know, say everything will be all right, you know, like putting, you get a hole in the wall, right? Or let's look, and I'm gonna use, like, you know, you got this bumpy road. Every year you patch it, they patch it. And each year it gets worse and worse and worse. You know what I'm saying? And you just keep patching it until it's just getting to the point that you can't patch this up anymore. Are you following me?
Yeah, I definitely follow the bouncy balls that.
Yeah, you can't. It's just, that's what it reminds me of. You know, you just keep patching until there's literally there's nothing to patch anymore. You know, you lose. It's like the person who had the control is losing the fiber that was once, you know, so strong, you know, and it's losing its power. You have but a strand left. You can't only patch stuff up for so long, you know, and pave it over. So now you get to the point where you have to do it completely over again. You understand what I'm saying? You have to bust up the concrete and put brand new road over it, or sidewalk, or whatever.
That's in comparison to what I'm saying, or what I've said.
Mm-hmm.
That is a friendly way of putting it. Myself, I go a little stronger inside the illustration. I enjoy your illustration of and I know a lot of people feel that that's going to resonate with them. But if I can, TBYE, if I see, can I put it in a more definitive context?
I mean, you can do as you please with it. You know what I'm saying? It's just that those are the words.
That's why I enjoy being on Black Living Room Talk, because the way you put it and the way I put it, and it comes out and it jump on with a real good sauce.
Because I mean, I think there are people who understand it, different ways. So somebody might comprehend it a little better the way you say it. You know what I'm saying? The way I just said it is the way I only know how to say it. The way it came to me. You can only say it.
And it resonates with a lot of people, but I'm going to put it in a more definitive way. Since you had me guess that what you asked me, it'll be clear from what my thought process is, that they put us in slavery. So therefore, there should be no compromise from any leader as to the direction that we as a people should move in. Anything other than liberation, our own acquisition of land, flag, anthems, systems of economic, academic, social patterns, and cultural progressions would be treason to the means of death that struggle to fight to keep us from leaving Africa, and for the people of North, South, and Central America, regardless of the name that the European called the landmass that they stole from the native Aboriginal peoples. The whole thing is a bloody mess, and there should have never been any compromise inside any of the African, Negro, Native Americans, Moor, Hebrew, Israelites, or whatever they would like to call themselves.
No.
Their suggestion for us to integrate into anyone's system after we have went through these atrocities and we have been decapitated and mutilated, burnt and hung for being the original members of this planet. To me, as a revolutionary and as a liberationist who don't succumb to the American ideology of that we're all human, or that America could be made great, and I just want your audience to know that is my position, has nothing to do with TBYE or any other previous or future members that might come on her show. As King Aijalon and Lord of Commands, you can visit us on www.commands.com, which is our web, and you can check us out on Lord of Commands, check the line group, Facebook, or Lord of Commands International Coordinates. There are many areas you can connect with us, even Lord of Commands, YouTube. But getting back to the dialogue of the position of Lord of Commands, that we know we need a new mindset, and getting back to the Al Sharpton in the Jesse Jackson.
I gotta say something.
Martin.
I have to break in here though. I have to say this before I forget. See, what I was saying and what you're saying is kind of like two different things.
That's what I said. I told your audience that I'm not saying the same thing they're saying. I'm saying something
but
totally different.
I was answering something towards what you were saying. Okay? So I was talking about, what I was saying was the system of things, of the way, the way the ancestors did it, or these so-called, you're talking about the Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, whatever. I'm saying that, okay, you cannot work with a system that is likened unto a path of road that has been traveled, you know what I'm saying, has been traveled so often and it's so familiar that this thoroughfare is completely in disarray. It is in need of repair. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying, talking about the system that these people have, seems like they've been trying to work with someone who's already against them, trying to repair something that needs to be busted up, like an old road, an old thoroughfare. You can only repair something that is in disarray for so long. You can only repair it for so long, because those patches, trying to patch the bumps up, trying to patch the cracks up, is only going to last for just a little while. Then after a while, you're going to completely have to bust the whole surface up and repave it completely new, all over again. A new construction. That's what I'm saying. So this is in need.
I totally heard what you said the first time, and I was just letting you listen to the audience that I'm going to put it in a different demographic than what you did. I'm not disagreeing with nothing you said. The analogy that you did, I know it resonated with your audience. And if this go viral, people all around the world is definitely going to tap in and appreciate the way you said it. I was just saying in a Lower African Mind framework that the fact that our ancestors fought not to have us on the slave ship, and they fought on the slave ship, and they fought when we got here, and we never stopped fighting. We never wanted to be a part of it. And so this system has never, ever worked for us. So therefore, we should never have the thought to try to be a part of it, or try to fix it or pave it, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But I hear what you're saying. You can only patch it up, but your patching went up. It never been for us.
No, it was never. Absolutely, it wasn't.
Yeah.
But since it has been put out that way. I mean, well, we're living under it. So since it has, it just needs to be either we got to do it ourselves. You know what I'm saying? You can't wait for somebody else to repair something for you. You have to.
When you say repair, I'm thinking that if you repair something, it must have been fixed. So I can't grasp the word repair in a situation that started off broke. I mean, we were in Africa. We fought not to get on a slave ship. We fought them on a slave ship. We fought them when we landed in North and Central South America, and we never stopped fighting. It's just some bootlicks who tried to convince us that Canada, America, Mexico, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela is systems that we should partake of and act like everything's cool.
I'm saying, and you must understand me. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it never was meant for us. No.
Thank you. That's all
that's a total.
You saying repair.
That's a fact. What I mean is, I'm using. There's more than one way that I can use this. I'm saying repair it in a way that it has to be. We have to repair it our own. Okay. It was taken from us. You know what I'm saying? The language, the culture, your name. So we have. I'm saying for us.
Okay, well that sounds much better when you get into the nitty-gritty, that you're talking specifically that we have to repair and heal ourselves and forge our own system, because there's no other opportunity that's going to be beneficial for us.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
We don't do it ourselves.
And
I love you for saying it. Like I said, I know your audience, it resonates with them and they apply to you. I'm not saying anything against what you're saying. I'm just putting it in revolutionary terms and liberation terms here in Black Liberation Talk. From my Lower African Mind perspective, that I don't want no parts of this system at all. I mean, I'd rather you and me and our children, have our own system of truth and fairness.
Well, it doesn't really, to me, I feel like getting it out is more important. And you already know that it doesn't, I don't feel like, I don't know, I guess I'm just that type of individual where I feel it doesn't take a lot, for me to explain what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I compared it to a busted up old thoroughfare, because it is a busted up old thoroughfare that we had to use. So I'm saying it's busted up. It needs reconstruction for us, totally dismantled. Okay? That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I agree with the total dismantle. I mean, because I never seen any part whether it was fixed or broken. I never seen it
That is not the point. I know, but that's not the point. The point is, I'm saying, is that we already know it's destroyed.
Thank you. I mean, I take that straight up talk any day.
Yeah, it's destroyed.
Unapologetically, straight black on Black Liberal Time. I love the nitty gritty.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's
I thank you for having me as a guest. I salute you, Queen.
So I'm saying, earlier today there was an article. I don't know if you saw it, but I give credit where credit is due. They were talking about this white man that drove these two young black guys to the emergency room. The young man was in a car accident, lost a lot of blood through somebody's shooting. And he said people were taking pictures, and he said, nobody wanted to jump in and help. Here this guy could have lost his life because somebody wants likes on social media. You know what I mean? So he took it upon himself as an Uber driver to drive this guy to the emergency room and saved his life and gave him the money that was offered to him. I say kudos to him. And give credit where credit is due. I really appreciate him being selfless and not thinking about the color of the person's skin. I really appreciate that. But we must not get overly excited. Must not get overexcited, because people will start to saying things like, I get it, it's good and bad in every race, but throughout the ages, what have we heard and what have we read? So I just don't get excited too much, because it's like it's so rare, so I don't get excited about it. I give credit, but I ain't jumping out of my seat.
Well, it's interesting that you said that. I had a discussion the other day with some people inside the left mind, and I was saying that there's no good white people. And so when we say white people, we're talking about the people. We're not talking about the individual person. Inside every people, you might find a person, right, who can do some good deeds.
Right.
Person.
Yes.
And so I just want the people to understand the frame of mind King Aijalon, the Ansubu black mind has. White people are no good to black people because white people conquered us globally. But there are white persons who might help a black person. But there's no white person who helped all black people. So just because a person, no matter what race they are, do a good deed to another person, it is a personal effort to help an individual or individuals. But it has nothing to do with the impact of us as a people.
And I think that's where people get it really twisted up at. I really do. I mean, I don't think I know. That's where they get it twisted up.
And I know too. So, and I congratulate you for saying that. I believe that we're at the time that we really have to be engaged in what we do know, and I think that's going to empower our children to create a better system.
And it's like we have to be in tune and aware of what we know, and then now we have to be in tune with what we're saying. You have really, this social media thing is it's somewhere else, and it's like you really have to watch sometimes the way you say things. It's like this. Keep going back to, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I mean, you can still get you can still give the knowledge out and share what you know to the people, but be mindful of the words that you use. It's very important. That's why they tell you. Anything you do or say can be used against you in a court of law. Because you can be sitting out there blowing off at the mouth and incriminate your own self. So.
So that's where the thing called the Aijalon law come in. One thing you can ask the court, regardless of what prosecution or the accuser, right, the opposition might say, under the Aijalon laws, you are given the opportunity to explain what the reference statement was framed in from your personal perspective. And since a lot of people don't know about law, they get caught up because they said something and they're being prosecuted off their head.
Right.
Instead of injecting the Aijalon law into the body of legal commutation. So there is a way for those who investigate, study, and make inquiries as to proceedings of judicial litigations. Even though they might try to spin your statement, at the end of the day, you do have a right under the Aijalon law to tell the courts how you meant it when you framed whatever statement. Regardless if it's the FBI, the CIA, the President's Cabinet, the DIA, a military tribunal, if you inject the Aijalon law and you tell the court of how that sentence structure came to be, then what happens is that anything else becomes a false accusation and assumption according to a twisted way of thinking outside of the individual actual reality of that statement. And the most they can do is say, hey, it could have been offensive to somebody, but the individual and its mind reference had no idea of other people being offended when they made the truth. And so we do have a right to tell our truth. But you just got to know the codes and bodies of laws when you say the truth. We watched Donald Trump. He didn't get perjured by the things that he said. Nobody brought up accusations of bigotry, of prejudice, or biasness. And he said a lot of things that could have been looked as interest to a lot of people, but he had a legal team with him to reference that the frame that he spoke in was not the frame that other media or different individuals were trying to frame it in. So, me, I frame it in the most foundational terms that I can find. I don't want to be misconstrued. I'm not trying to intellectualize. I'm not trying to be professional. I'm just sitting here on the scales of my eye. I'm trying to give people the truth for those who can receive it, and for those who can't, maybe at a later date, or as they do some more study or make an inquiry, that hard bottom line truth may resonate with them at some point. And if not, hey, those are the ones who might not go down the arrows and the arrows of the Pharaoh, that we may restore a new command in the laws of Ma'at. Too many people are tap dancing around with the English language when the only thing that English means is in linguistics, right? And so you have to study linguistics if you want to be a proficient conveyor of truth in English. You have common English, you have standard English, you have noble English, you have the royal family English, you have corporate English, you have judicial English, you have Australian English. So, once you understand the English, right, that people who are not of the English, British Empire English, that you have a right to use a pidgin English and to frame words as long as it's understood to the people you're addressing. And the ones who don't understand or understand, only thing you have to do under the Joel law said you was not addressing their mentality. So therefore, the English statements, because we don't speak English, we just use English word to communicate a point. Because words are nothing but symbols. They allow us to have an emotion and a feeling through the person that's been spoken to. But throughout history and mankind, when we study etymology, there's always going to be an outsider who is going to misinterpret, right, the dominant conversation between the group or the individual.
Yep. Yes, it is, because it's kind of sort of like, to me, two people can be looking at the same thing and be sure to the fact that they're seeing something different.
And it's cool.
That's cool, but in this particular time, I'm looking at...
Well, I'm trying to help you out. So if me and my brother was talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And other people were listening, and it was just me and my brother talking, the choice of English words is not for those who are outside listening. Under the Joel law, I'm speaking to the mentality that me and my brother have. And any other hindrance is just an assumption of the dialogue that we choose to use in linguistics of the English tongue. And therefore, we become exonerated, right, from the exorcisms of somebody making a conjuncture or a conjunction of what were actually spoke. Because the dialogue was not meant for the outside audience, right, to critique what was said. And so you just have to understand what the Joel law is.
Okay, I just kind of think...
I'm saying you have a right to talk to anybody, right, that's in your frequency. And if any outside person has anything to say, you can dismiss what they say just under the Joel law. Because you're talking from a certain frame of mind, a certain environment. You're not talking to the whole goddamn nation, even though it's broadcast, right, for a specific audience. And that's where you win at. Your audience know what you're talking about. Any audience outside of that, you don't have to give two flying, because when you do a specific targeted audience in your demographics, you state that within the criteria of the show. But if you're doing something just for the masses, just to be speaking to the whole world, but then you can get caught times up and caught up in all kind of follies because you never set no dialogue or what the dialogue was about. That's why I keep right here. If you ever hear me speak, I always make injunctions about of what it is and who I'm speaking to.
Yes, because that's why I always make a little short
disclaimer.
Yeah, a little synopsis before, a lot of times before the shows go on. And but anyway, I think I was going in a whole different way, and I'll probably just explain that to you some other time. But I really did. I think I did enjoy this because it's called just to talk freely and kind of talk about some of the current black state of affairs that are going on. And I think I'm just gonna I kind of named it that because I think it's important to talk about them, and not just to talk about them, but when you a lot of times as you talk, you can come up with solutions. So that's why I like to take notes too, because out of that, the conversations, ideas can be born and brought to fruition. So I really enjoyed this conversation, King Aijalon Joseph Ansubu, and I really do thank you for being able to join me. I know that we are on different times, but if there's something that needs to get out and that needs to be said and that somebody needs to hear it, then, we have to make, that time. And I really would like to come back again with you and talk about the Black current state of affairs, because, we can't, somebody needs to hear this. So hopefully it'll help, some of our brothers and sisters out here who are, in the trenches their own way, or looking for, or looking for something that is on their heart to do for the people to make a difference. Do you have any last words before I intro out, my brother?
So, I would like to say, with knowledge comes the responsibility of application. It's okay to post and it's okay to speak about things, and we as a people are good about finding information and speaking about it, sharing it with each other, and it's a great job that this wake up is real. But when we exercise our right as citizens of the earth, as earthlings, then we can put it into application, because it's the reality that we want to create. The divine providence says, manifest what you will. And so with that being said, it's always been a great pleasure and a privilege to come on Black Living Room Talk and to have these intimate, subtle, soothing discussions about current Black state of affairs, and even to look back into the past of how we got here, and to try to figure out which way we should go and what applications we take. I thank you, TBYE, for having me, King Aijalon, the Ansubu, Lord of Commons, and if anyone in the audience would like to make contact with King Aijalon, the Ansubu, Lord of Commons, they can go to www.lordofcommons.com, or they can contact me at lordansubu@gmail.com. That's LORDANSUBU@gmail.com. And there's another direct way you can do it, and that's call at 510-386-5369. We'll get back to you if you leave a message. Thank you for having me on your show, Your Majesty.
TBYE, Black Living Room Talk. I hope you enjoy the guests. King Aijalon, the Ansubu. Peace, love, and light. Hotel.